Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel. We're here at MetroEast Community Media in Gresham, Oregon. And now for our last segment of the evening, we're going to be talking with the Oregon Foster Youth Connection. Here to represent, we have Samson Jones. You are the adult supporter. And Jonathan Dreyer, you are the OFYC leadership, correct?
Correct.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate you both coming in tonight.
Absolutely.
So, why don't you give me a little background on the Oregon Foster Youth Connection? Why was this organization formed?
So this organization was formed for a number of reasons, mainly to address current system status, so the child welfare system specifically. There's a lot of stagnant policy energy, and we thought, we being Pamela Heisler, who formed the organization, thought that it would be a great idea to form a youth-led organization representing foster youth.
So both of you were in the system at one time, is that correct? So you've got that firsthand knowledge of what it was like to be in that system. So are most of the people that are in this organization have that experience, so they can speak directly to the issues?
Yeah, so the Oregon Foster Youth Connection is a group of current and former foster youth advocating to change the system in Oregon. We work with various national partners, such as Foster Youth in Action, Foster Club, and many others.
Advocacy work? Is that what we're talking about mostly, or?
Mostly advocacy work.
Okay. So, Jonathan, as the leadership, what exactly do you do?
I'm more or less just a member. However, I did assume a leader position it was like a few months ago. I really just helped around we do a lot of action opportunities rather. And so that involves us just kind of going out. We do a lot of youth panels and spreading the word.
So what is the word that you want to get out there? What is the message?
The message, at least as it means to me, just to kind of, foster youth need some help. So we're out there to kind of help out with youth rights through advocacy and leadership, and just want everyone to know that we're doing the best that we can to improve the foster care system one day at a time.
I think that's admirable. Sam, what do you see as like one of the biggest obstacles to a good, I don't want to say this, a good foster home situation? I mean, what are the things that really cause problems for kids?
Mainly, I would say I'll just take the teen example. A lot of foster parents won't adopt teens, which is a large body of what makes up the foster care system, at least in Oregon, because they lash out, they have a bad history, etc.
They're teenagers.
They're teenagers, and they're in foster care. So I think there's another degree of compassion that needs to be considered if they are to be a foster parent. So
that's not easy. It's not easy to take in kids that have already had a life before and assimilate them into your home. I'm sure that, but there's some great organizations doing some pretty awesome stuff, like yours, doing the advocacy work, educating people. Bridge Meadows, you familiar with that? I love what they're doing. So when you say you want to, or educate people or have a little more compassion, what would you say to somebody who said, I couldn't possibly adopt an older child? I mean, do you have something you would say to them directly that would maybe change their mind?
Well, to be honest, I don't know if I'd really want to change their mind about that, because I think if they're not ready for that, then it's probably for the better, because at least they know that. A lot of people go into that role assuming much about that role, and they are in turn not ready for it, and so it's just this big, long derailment of situations.
A lot of disappointment for everybody, I imagine.
Yeah.
So what do you think, the work, go ahead.
I was going to add just a little bit about some of the current legacy or some of the current legislative action that's going on right now. House Bill 2889 and 2890 just passed the House and also the Senate committee, and are on their way to the Senate, the full Senate, next week. So.
And what will those bills do?
What are the bills again?
So our bills are to pass for extracurricular activities, so for youth in school at least, to be required to have the option,
Of being involved in those extracurricular
yeah,
activities?
being involved in something like soccer or like football or maybe
Things
like,
that maybe cost money that maybe the foster families don't have.
yeah.
Is that kind of the idea that you deserve to be able to do those extracurricular activities too?
Definitely, yeah, because it's really tough going through foster care and like school when your foster parents like can't really afford the activities, and so I think it's for either DHS or the foster parents for somebody to fund at least one activity. That way they can have some sort of normalcy and
Yeah.
a little extra learning.
Yeah.
And then another bill that we're also trying to get passed is for youth in care to be able to have the option of having a savings account so that they can save money. So that way, when they get old enough to live on their own, they're covered and
They've
able
got
to.
something to start out with. That
Yep.
makes sense. So those things you have to actually have legislative action to make happen. That's that's things that I think a lot of people don't even ponder, never think about. So a lot of what you do is really educating people as to the situation. So as a community member, what can I do to help?
I think this is a really great opportunity right here, being a part of MetroEast Community Media. Pat
Nice
self on the
job,
back.
yes.
Because I mean, just getting the word out, getting people knowledgeable about what the foster care system is, what the child welfare system is, what the juvenile justice system is, all these systems that govern the choices of families and children. And by governing, I mean in the courthouse on daily, there's dialogues that are sustained and choices that are made on behalf of others by party of, either a few or many individuals that may or may not represent the true
The desires or the needs maybe of
the
those
families
groups.
that are being met. Yeah.
What are some of the issues that as a kid growing up that you felt what needs weren't met?
Jonathan, would you like to elaborate?
So some issues that I thought maybe should have been fixed a lot more. It was a lot of foster parents foster parents. One of my main problems was that they thought they could handle having a couple of extra kids in their household, and turns out it didn't work out so well.
So they weren't prepared to have 2 extra or however many kids living with them. I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
when you have a kid and it grows up there, you start assimilating it in, but getting a couple just boom like that.
It's very important to be prepared and ready, because if you don't, if you're not even a little bit sure that you can do it, then I would caution against it, because youth in care, they have many different forms of, different backgrounds. It could be traumatic, or they're just moving from house to house. So it's really stressful. So you have to kind
I
of
think
know how
that
to
would
deal
be
with
one of
that.
the hardest things, not having that stability and not having that place that you could, that you always knew was your home.
Mm-hmm.
Did you both have several different homes that you lived in growing up?
Yeah, I got the portfolio, the file number 0011. Okay.
And excuse me if I'm being too personal,
No,
but really,
it's interesting that you bring that up, because a lot of times another part of that issue is that foster youth are oftentimes associated with how many the first thing that comes is like how many placements have they already been in, which I'll disclose. I've been in over 10. I was in over 10 homes, and I've experienced group homes, residential homes, a variety of experiences along the way. And I feel like what that did for me is like prepared me for the world in a really raw way, where I saw a lot of things at a young age that maybe could have been introduced and structured from if I had some nice parental figures, I could have figured out some things a little bit easier.
or ways of coping with things, or
Exactly.
assimilating things that maybe other kids had a better way to do that. Yeah, that would be tough. So, do you talk with kids that are in the foster system right now? I mean, you obviously work with some of them in this organization, but what about kids that are not involved in this organization and that are having issues? Is there any outreach to kids in the foster system from your organization?
I do have a lot of friends actually that are from the foster care background that are actually still in the system. I have a lot more, surprisingly, than I don't. We do have a few resources. We recently established an ombudsman line, so that foster youth, if they're having an issue with their house or their their household or the foster parents, or maybe it's like a group home incident, they can just call in and try and get support and see if they can fix the problem versus just suffering through it and not really having anybody to help them out.
So it's almost like a crisis line or a counseling line, depending on what their needs are.
Yeah.
What do we call it? A yes line?
Yeah, it's the
yes line.
The yes line. I forget
right.
exactly what it
Is
stands
that
for.
an acronym for something?
A many of acronyms. And, of many.
Yeah, OFYC. That doesn't really spell anything, but so with this organization, you've taken on some leadership roles, obviously. What has it done for you being part of it? I mean, as far as that goes.
So before this organization, I was actually completely clueless as to I only was knowledgeable of the stereotypes of foster youth and the whole system, but since joining the organization, my eyes have been open pretty big, and I learned a lot.
Do you find you can speak out, obviously, articulate very well about this situation? I would think that would be a big help.
Yeah, definitely.
In any area of your life.
I learned a little more on how to focus my words and how to make it my needs more apparent and different ways I can reach out, and I learned all these different resources and made some friends along the way. And
that's all good. All good stuff. How about you, Sam?
I have had this organization I have nothing but good things to say about this organization. I've been involved since 2008, and
that's a long time.
A lot of great people have come in and out of my life since then. I've had national opportunities to help organize conferences around foster youth issues, mainly helping other youth in other states experience another opportunity to have basically help other youth provide them with a better future or better an opportunity when they do exit care or while they're in care. And so really the networking has been tremendous for my understanding of the ongoing issues nationally. Other than that, I've made some really close friends, some really great allies that have really helped me stay grounded and aware of my actions in the community and also just my own personal self. So I would just say, yeah. The other thing is that we're a program of a nonprofit called Children First for Oregon, and they help us get all of our bills to the Capitol. We have what's the lobbyist's name there? What's his name? Kevin?
I think so. I forget his name at the moment.
Let's just say it's Kevin. Okay. Thank you, Kevin. So yeah.
So how's the funding for your organization? Does it come from Children First? I mean, how do you?
We fundraise. We put out grants. So Kevin is a lobbyist so we have people with various. So we have a grant writer, people who have different asks amounts for whatever we're doing. So since we're a youth-led organization, it works a little bit differently because we have other co-signers applying for those grants. And so federally we receive the money differently, mainly for, youth engagement. So I will say that yes, Children First helps us raise the money for Oregon Foster Youth Connection, and then Oregon Foster Youth Connection acts upon those asks. So in a lot of ways, yeah, we're interdependent of one another.
Okay. Really, you guys do a really good job of explaining this. We're just about out of time, so tell me, what else do we need to know? How can somebody be involved if they want to be involved, or do you need volunteers? Do you need people to be involved with this, besides being educated?
I'll just say, there's a Facebook page, Oregon Foster Youth Connection.
Like us.
Like us on Facebook for the millionth time.
Yeah.
We're working on a Twitter account too. I actually don't know where that went to,
but our official
Ruben has
website
it.
is oryouthconnection.org. You can find any more information on that website. If you have any information at all about our community, feel free to reach out.
Cool. I love it. Thank you very much. And I really think, if nothing else, you've gained some great skills as far as negotiating and talking and, advocating. So nice job.
Cool.
Thanks very much for watching Community Hotline tonight. Hope you've learned something. I know I have. And do come back and visit us next week. We'll be right here at the same time. I'm Monica Weitzel. Good night. Nicely done, guys.
What local community media is to us is literally our lifeline to what's going on in the lives around us.
The absolute most important thing that happens in your neighborhood.
People's local communities are usually what's most important to them.
Because we're the faces, the smiles, the peoples, and the personalities of the community.
To not only give people a voice, but to have their voice heard.
Have you ever wanted to create a TV show of your own? Come check out the basic editing class at MetroEast. Our trainers will give you the skills you need to flex your creative muscles. Using our state-of-the-art IMAX and Final Cut Pro 10, you can work with your own videos, add graphics and music, and even drop in cool special effects like green screen and slow motion. The best part? No experience is required. All ages and skill levels are welcome. Find out more on our website at metroeast.org.